Hi there, I'm Michole Briana White, and check me out on Rolling Out Star Studios.
Hello and welcome to Rolling Out Star Studio. I am your host, Portia Monique, and today we have a fantastic guest, Michole Briana White. She plays Lucille Flenory in BMF, season 1 and season 2, and I'm so excited to be speaking to her today to get all of the good deets. But help me welcome to the show, Michole Briana White.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we typically like to get to know our actresses and our sisters, but I know we don't have a lot of time. And I just want to cut right to the chase today. We got to come back and do a more extensive interview at a later time. However, let's cut right to the chase. Lucille Flenory, season 2. What can we look forward to from Lucille's character?
I mean, I would say from season 2 in general, that Lucille is struggling with going, hey, I need to be seen here. I want to be seen more, and trying to and learning how to honor herself. She's getting to that point where she's finding the value in herself.
Yes, she is, and she's definitely being more outspoken, especially in that last episode that we saw. But I wanted to also know, so we do know that Terry and Meech's mom is still alive. We've seen her at some of the actual premieres. I'm in Detroit, and so I definitely seen her for season 2 premiere that actually aired. I think it was in November. However, how did you prepare for your role with her? Did you actually get a chance to speak with her, kind of download directly from her? How did you prepare?
Yeah, I did. I talked to her often. So we met before we started shooting on FaceTime for the first time, and that was like, wow. I cried, she cried, and it was just a beautiful moment. And then I saw her for the first time. We were shooting in Detroit, and I was all in my wardrobe and everything. I had my Lucille hair on and all that. And I don't even think I realized when we were on FaceTime the first time just how much we really favor each other. It's like amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I really get her. I understand her. She's so familiar to me. And I always talk about how there's some roles that, or even jobs or whatever, things that you can manifest. And then there are things that are divinely on your path. And this is just one of those things that nothing could kind of stand in the way of it. And it's just been so divine and magical, this whole situation, and being able to connect with her, and just just how much we actually connect. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, I get to call her all the time. I will call her between takes, sometimes going, oh my gosh, especially in season 1, a lot, like, oh my gosh, how did you feel when you were going through this? Or or do you have any inspiration, because I felt nervous today, or whatever. And she would send me a Bible verse, or she was just always so encouraging and trusting of my voice. And anyway, it's just been pretty freaking fantastic. But even now I talk to her, and I check in with her. How are you feeling about how the episodes are playing out? Do you feel, are you comfortable, or do you feel like you're being represented? And she's said nothing but encouraging words to me. And yeah, she's been my biggest inspiration, and that's how I do most of my homework, is talking to her.
Yeah. You flawlessly bring her to life on the screen, so I definitely want to commend you for that. And you're right, you guys favor a lot, and so it's just trying to look at both of you guys and trying to picture her in this actual role, but you bringing her to life on screen. It's just amazing to kind of look at the progression from season 1 to season 2. Now, in that same vein, what part of Lucille's character do you, Michole, identify with the most?
I think, I don't know. It's so many things I identify with, but probably her spirituality, and not in terms of religion, but in terms of real spirituality. Like, I'm a very spiritual person, and I'm an energy person. I do energy work and healing, very much into the healing arts and stuff like that. So on the set all the time, I'm always just going in that place, and then I try to help with healing energy with other people, like, I'm working with Michi or Sydney, or just sharing different things, as kind of a spiritually connected person, like,
Mhm.
I identify with her like that very much, and we've had conversations about that, where she's like, she doesn't feel like she's a religious person, she's a spiritual person. And one thing I love about her is that she talked about, she she was a minister sometimes in the church, but she particularly loved to minister outside the church.
Mm.
um, and that's like the most important thing to me, because it's like ministering to the boys,
Mhm.
and they're boys, and because they're in need, and God doesn't go away just because you do certain things with your life, and that's where you need God the most. And that was really important to her, and I believe in that kind of thing very strongly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now I'm just very curious about this story. Had you heard of BMF before it was even pitched to you? No.
I really knew nothing about BMF. Like, I really, but then some people would share stories. Oh yeah, you remember this that happened at the club this one time with the so and so rapper and the so and so? That was BMF. I go, oh, okay, okay, I get it now. Yeah, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I had no clue.
Right.
Yeah,
And when you think of BMF, their story is not just about them, right? It has so many tentacles, so many branches
yeah,
that are equally important to history and the future. Um,
yeah,
and also when you think of being a mom, right, and her role with genius children, because let's just face it, they
yeah.
were, right?
That's
With
true.
genius
Yeah,
children who
yeah,
you believe you raised right, but you don't
yeah.
necessarily approve of their career choice. Like, how do
Right.
you handle that as a mom? And for her character, how did you approach your character's lines to be able to bring her to life in that great light?
Um, bringing her to life, honestly, um, she just came. And the first time I read the material, she just came. She just showed up. I felt like I know this woman. I understand her. I just it's just this role is just in divine order, like,
Yeah,
period. So I don't feel like I often like struggle to get to certain places, because she's just there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then as far as your other question was about raising them, and what did you say again?
Just raising them and thinking that you're raising them right, but you don't necessarily agree with their career choice
Yeah,
as a mom, especially in
yeah,
this character. What is it that you put in your mind that says, okay, she wasn't a bad mom, and how do I bring that to light? Because you're always going to have these wavering opinions, like,
yeah,
she endorsed and she condoned what her kids
yeah,
were doing,
yeah,
but
right,
we don't look at Lucille like that. We look at Lucille as a mom who was trying to make it and trying to shield and cover her boys and her family. And,
mm,
and sometimes we accepted gifts, like,
yeah, right, right.
but how do you make her seem so favorable in that light?
Well, I mean, I think the truth is that they did not come from a broken family.
Hmm.
That is just that they came from a broken neighborhood. And so the neighborhood is what needed work, and the opportunities that presented themselves outside of the family home were limited, and they were struggling. And so her boys did what they could do to try to take care of their family. And I think there's a respect in that their intentions were good, and then they still try to take family and what they learned to everything that they did. And I don't think she didn't approve of those things, and that was very challenging and difficult to go through. But yeah, they are brilliant men though. I mean, that is just real. So I do feel like there's a part of her that's extremely proud of them and what they created. And yet, those some things are hard. I don't think it's fair for how people have judged her, because she did her best. Her and her husband, they did their best to raise their children well and give them love and give them spirituality and teach them how to treat people and all of those things. But some things you can't always prevent, and I don't think that's for anyone to judge necessarily. And at a time like that, when you're going through these things, I mean, she dealt with so many things with her sons being shot, multiple times, and feeling like you don't know if they're gonna live, and all of this stuff. It was just so much. And at that time, you need support from, definitely your spiritual base, like, and that ain't right to be judging then, because ain't nobody perfect. And we're all trying to find a way. And you just never know where the journey is going to lead. Even the fact that BMF now is a television show that is raising young Meech now to be a man, learning about stepping in the shoes of his father and learning about his own history and healing himself in this profound way that is legitimate, that is going out to the world, that so many is had such an impact on so many people at this point, and it's uplifting and healing, and understanding and compassion, I think, is being created for families like this, and neighborhoods like this, communities like this, that really need support to move to new heights. And so it really has all been a blessing in the end. So you never know why you're on the path that you're on. So it's still trusting your own personal journey. And there's always light somewhere, and no matter where the darkness is, there's always light. And so I think
beautifully said. Beautifully said. Now, the writing in the series is superb, and very authentic to the period and time. I know we have writer, producer, executive, director, and all of that, Randy Huggins, to thank for that. He's a native Detroiter. But for you, do you ad-lib some of your lines, or is it directly by the book? One of the lines in particular from this last episode, I hollered, right? When Meech brought you a dress, and he was like, Ma, live your life. And you was like, this gonna be cute on me.
Oh, yeah. I think I did ad-lib that day. Yeah, I try to stick to the script most of the time, but sometimes it'll be a little something here or there. And then, we get to have, Randy's always been really open about it. So we have open conversations like, hey, this doesn't feel right. It feels like, can I say this in this way or whatever? And then, in the moment, sometimes little things come up, and you just have to keep living in the moment, because they don't always cut right away. So you just keep showing up.
Now, I do want to get in, thank you for that, but I do want to get in a couple of Women's History Month questions, as March, of course, is Women's History Month. So what do you think is one of the most important contributions to acting that has been made by an African-American woman?
Ooh, you're getting deep on me now. I mean, there are so many just in my industry that
Mhm.
um I mean, the fact that we get to eh, show up and work. I mean, even I'm gonna say this, like I feel like Miss Lucille is
Yeah.
making a contribution to this industry now, and being a voice that has never been heard on
Mhm.
this level in this particular kind of
Mhm.
family, that being able to express that, just this is like, could be a crime drama, but it's not really that. It's a family drama, and really seeing another side of what happens on the inside, that just because you grow up in this way does not mean that you didn't come from a two parent, which is rare in a Black family,
Right.
loving home that gave you the tools, gave you great tools to go out into the world.
Mhm.
And um and to me, we're making history by doing that. So I would say Lucille is one of the greatest contributions to history, for African American females.
I love that.
Yeah.
And as Black women, we're brilliant and we are a force to definitely be reckoned with. In that same vein, what do you consider your superpower to be?
Oh, um, I'm gonna say two things. So I would say my biggest superpower is my spirituality,
Mhm.
and trusting, and having the courage to allow the divine to be channeled through me to do my art.
Mhm.
Um, I would say that, and then I would also say, um, and I don't. Ooh, this is making me feel emotional, because I have to remind myself of this sometimes. But my biggest superpower is probably having compassion for
Mhm.
myself, and being able to show up for myself with love and compassion, like no matter what is going on, to say, I still love you. I'm here for you. I will always show up for you. And you're enough right now. It's okay.
Okay.
Are
Thank
we
you
having
for
a
sharing.
moment right now?
We're having a moment.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing that. And it is emotional, and I am getting chills. And sometimes we do have to take a step back and be there and show up for ourselves. So thank you for that reminder, because as women, we think we are superheroes. Like we put that cape on and we keep moving without really stopping to take inventory of who we are, where we are, what, those type of things, because we're so concerned about taking care of everyone else. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for that.
Thank
Um, you- Listen, okay, so now I'm all discombobulated.
Right.
I had a couple more questions. And we'll just go for it, right? So with you being a seasoned actress, you've had your share of ups and downs, ins and outs in this industry. That being said, your definition of success has probably shifted from when you first started to where you are now. Um, with that being said, how do you currently define success?
Honestly, um, I don't think success is just having the thing, really. Um, it feels like that, but I think success is really just part of what I just shared, of really being able to show up for you no matter where you are, that wherever you are on your journey is enough, and it's okay, and being able to show up and meet yourself with love and compassion, and saying, I love you, I'm here for you, I forgive you, I will always show up for you. To me, is that's a really deep level of success, because we measure it sometimes by having these things and all of that. But the journey, no matter where you are, is still part of it. Because even like me being here, doing BMF is huge for me. This is like a major success in my career. But what I realize now is that everywhere that I have been has contributed to this very moment right now. And so what I'm able to like share in this moment, I would not have been able to share without the experience that I've had. So counting it all joy, because it's all been part of my journey and all been necessary. So wherever you are, each piece still matters, and you will use it at some point, and it's all going to come together for the greater good of all. You know what I'm saying? And really being able to trust that part of it, I think is really, that's real success, I think.
Yeah. And last question before we ask how we can follow you on some of your other projects. For actors and or actresses just venturing into this career path, this trajectory, what would you tell them in terms of words of encouragement to keep them going?
A few things I would say. One, I always feel like acting, or whatever your art is, your passion, whatever it is, that if it's not like breathing, and particularly this business, if it's not like breathing, it's not worth it, because this business is so complicated and difficult. It's just, it can like really make you lose yourself in so many different ways. You feel like you're giving your power up constantly. So if it's not like breathing, it's not worth it. I would say that. If it is like breathing and it's like, I just have to do this, this is my passion, this is what drives me, this is what I love, then you find ways to do it no matter what. Nobody has to give you permission to do your art. There's always a way to create for yourself. Even if, it's like, oh, this is what's in me. Music is in me. I just need to sing. If I'm singing on the corner just because I need to share my voice, or I'm singing in my living room, or sharing with someone in some way, that I find a way to put myself in a situation where I can be creative. That is my job, to fulfill my own passion. I would say that. And ask me the question again, because it was one more thing I wanted to say.
What advice would you give to aspiring actors and actresses on their journey to keep going?
Yeah. Two more things. One is, you are enough. Where you are right now, it is enough. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And then the other thing, my grandfather would always say this to me, that a big shot ain't nothing but a little shot that kept on shooting.
One more time.
A big shot ain't nothing but a little shot that kept on shooting. And so, you just keep going, and you just keep doing what you do. And one day you'll wake up and go, wow, like I'm still here. I'm in this place that I never would have thought that I would even be in, but you just keep going, and you keep showing up. A big shot ain't nothing but a little shot that kept on shooting.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about that, but
I'm emotional too. We are in.
But that feels good though, right? A big shot ain't nothing but a little shot that kept shooting. Y'all keep shooting. I love it.
And even when you're in the place that's like supposed to be the thing or whatever, you're still humble enough to realize you still a little shot that just kept on shooting, and you're not like above everybody and all of that stuff, because we're all in this together still at the end of the day. And just really trusting that. And
it's definitely been a pleasure. We shared a couple moments here, but it all felt good. You dropped some beautiful gems on us. Thank you so much for taking the time out to stop and talk with Rolling Out to the Star Studio. Again, I'm your host, Portia Monique. Before we get out of here, let us know about some of your upcoming projects. We do know that BMF has been renewed for season 3. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I will confirm that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're renewed for season 3. I'm currently working on a project that I'm co-creator of. That I can't really discuss all the details at this moment. And I'm also in the final episode of Atlanta, that's on Hulu. I'm on episode 4 light skinned it.
Okay. Skin
Yeah,
dead.
light skin. Yeah, and I had a ball working over there with Donald Glover, and that entire team was that was really, if you want a good laugh, watch that episode.
We will do. And tell us, how do we follow you and keep up to date with all of the amazing things that you're doing?
I'm on Instagram at Michole White, MiCholewhite, although I'm known as Michole Briana White, but on Instagram, Michole White. And on Facebook, my fan page is Michole Briana White. And I think on Twitter, I might be at Miss Michole. Or yeah, I think so. But if you put in my name, if you put in Michole, there are not that many Micholes, so I'm sure it'll pop up. But I'm on Instagram a lot.
I love it. Well, thank you again for taking the time out to talk with Rolling Out Star Studio. I'm your host, Portia Monique, and we will be watching season 2 and waiting for season 3. We're also going to catch up with Atlanta too. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for these precious moments. Thank you.
Absolutely.